Thank you all for attending. And today it is obvious I'll be speaking on Mr. Trump and the situation at hand. Yesterday I talked about herd immunity, and the theory that comes with that and the deaths that will come out of that. And the fact that our president has stated over and over that he believes the only way this is going to be taken care of is through herd immunity. And that's why he's behaving the way he is. Even though he's nuts, even though, his behavior is due to his craziness, but still he has an intention, which is a belief. He's headlocked into a thought that everybody is going to be saved from this pandemic through herd immunity. So he really feels that you could do absolutely nothing and you'll come out the same. That's what he thinks. He thinks you can do absolutely nothing and you'll come out the same. No matter how hard you try, it's going to come out the same. And then there's another side of some people who go, well, if we do herd immunity, then we're going to have difficulty where that means that as many people as possible need to get this virus and actually have the virus and develop an immunity. If it develops an immunity, which is only some viruses do, a lot of viruses don't. This one is one that doesn't. So he's holding on to something that's already been proven it doesn't happen, because this virus you can get and get again 2 months later, as people are showing. It's not uncommon for people to get this virus 2 to 3 times so far, and just the cycles that we've known. So herd immunity is impossible for it to work. Simply wrong virus to try that on. And that's the basis of the flu. The flu is based on a symptom of herd immunity. You can either treat it, ask everybody to treat it, and if they don't treat it, it will go away because it lessens itself through herd immunity. But when you have something like this and you have 350 million people in the United States, and those 350 million people, to get herd immunity, they have to get the whole virus, which means at least 60 to 80%. All of them have to get it. So that's at least 250 million people need to get it. And right now, we know that a couple million people have gotten it. And out of that, we had 200,000 people die. And those are only people we've tested. We have no idea how many people actually have got it. So it may have already been 200 million people already got it. And it may have already be that we're going to die of 200,000 and another 300,000 and another 400,000, because it doesn't really have a process of just going away. So in this process with a president who believes that herd immunity is the way to go, he's going to say, slow down on the testing. It's costing us too much. Let's not focus on those states because those are blue states. So let's not treat everybody as we were going to, because that was the plan, was to take federal control over the situation and get scientists and all these different people to work together as a group and then share it openly, quickly to those in need. And that way we would be all facilitated. Everybody would get a test. Everybody would be taken care of in hospitals, and all the things that needed to get done would get done, because we're actually focusing as a large group to pull this off. And that was a strategy, and Krishna was the one who was running that. And when he took that to Trump, Trump said, look at the statistics. We're doing good. The red are doing good. Our states don't have hardly any of those test results. All the blue states are the ones that are sick. So this is good for us. We better not treat, because that way we can use it for ourselves in order to be elected, making it look like if you elect this person over here who's of the blue side, then you're all going to die of this virus. And you're also going to get all kinds of hostile behavior and all kinds of, he's using everything to say that people of the democratic states are just by nature evil. So all in all, he shut that down. He shut it down. We found out he shut it down. We got many, many, many verified realities behind that. The scientists who were involved in it, the people who actually funded it, they're wondering where their money went. It was hundreds of millions of dollars, private funds that were put into this to help humanity. And it's in the process. They're trying to find out what's going on. All they know is that they did not do the project. They didn't do it. They pulled out simply because Trump said not to, because it would be bad for the polls. It would be bad for the polls. So that was one thing, that just shows that he's, in his mind, he's thinking, we're not in a big problem. Everybody is silly. People don't believe in herd immunity. I do believe in herd immunity. There's no other way it's going to be healed. That's his mind. He has a little mind with a little capsule of thought, and he has so many paranoids. He has so many delusions that come out of him spontaneously. He's at shock when other people don't agree, when they don't see it in the same way. He's in shock, and it just rattles him to no belief. That's why he honestly believes, why is it you would want to touch a mask with your hands? Come anywhere near your face with your hands. Why would you want to do that? You don't want to do that, because he doesn't want to do that. And therefore, he wants everybody. Okay. So we're back, right? So what I'm talking about is the process of having someone in charge who believes that when you're president, every decision that is made stops there. When he makes a decision, that's it. If he shoots someone, no one could do anything. If you cannot take him to court during the time that he's president, he honestly believed it, and he stood up and said, no, there's no way you can take me to court. Even if I've never paid my taxes, even if I've raped little girls, even if I rape regular old women, every man's got his vices. That's all, just a vice. You shouldn't go to prison for it unless it's somebody else. And they're a pedophile, and they're a rapist, and they happen to be black, and they happen to be doing it to a white woman. Then he's enraged. He's going crazy over it. But yet that's him. He's doing those things, And his attitude behind any and all of it has to do with devil may care, the process of his own attitude. So here he's in charge, he's the guy that is supposed to be leading the nation, and we have a pandemic, and his thing is to laugh at people if you're wearing a mask, humiliate people if they ask questions about it, another hoax, you're just, that's not true. No one died today. He'll say stuff like that, he'll say, oh, no, 200,000. Yeah, but it could have been 2 million. Wow, that's true. It's exactly where it's going. Over the next year and a half, it'll reach 2 million. Before we really get a control on it, it'll reach 2 million if he's reelected. Because he's going to do this herd immunity, and he's in charge of herd immunity. He's going to rush a vaccine. And you can't I'm in science. My field is experimental psychology and experimental science. So we make shit like that. We look for what it takes to make enzymes and DNA and other structures that will combat cancer and combat viruses and things like that. We're in the experimental side of science, So there's a real science there, And we are the most controlled, moralistic people in science. We can't test on ourselves, which you want to do that. You see it in all the movies, They want to save humanity, so they're going to take the vaccine first. That's totally wrong. You cannot do that, And you cannot rush to think that you could start testing guinea pigs or prisoners, or Mexicans or immigrants or poor people and have them come to the lab and be paid for investigation and research, when it's illegal to do research before you do it to rats, for a year, at least for a year, because you got to give the amount of time it takes for tumors to grow. You got to give it the amount of time it takes for breakdown to happen in bodies. Yeah, and when you're given a virus that counteracts a pretty serious, a vaccine that counteracts a pretty serious virus that has many, 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 many avenues of illness that manifests. So they had to make a virus that could counteract and stop those things from manifesting. So it's not a one kind of virus. There's got to be at least 3 to 4 different viruses, some for age group, some even for your race, because people are more prominent if they're black than if they're white. Now, there's a reason for that. It's not because they're poor. It's not because there's too many in one house. It is a genetic scenario, and we all have things like that, like sickle cell anemia and many different things that are involved with specific races, that they have a worse connection to a virus or a illness than other people. We need to treat it that way. As an experimental psychologist, we look at that avenue. We don't just blindside go in and say, oh, we got a virus, now we're going to knock that virus out with a vaccine, and it doesn't really work that way. You have to do so many experiments. You have to then lock it down to a series of things that it could do, and then begin scientifically investigating those things on animals, see whether or not they have side effects. The key is side effects, and long-term side effects, short-term side effects, instant side effects. If it's instant side effects, you know that within a short period of time. If it's a little longer, like a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and then you see side effects, here, we're going to start giving vaccines after only 6 months of trials. 6 months of trials, that's insane. How long time does it take for that rabbit or that rat to start having the proper reactions of tumors or other things that will happen if we're given the wrong ones? Mental debilities, all kinds of serious shit that will happen when you're taking antibiotic viral kind of thing that is set in motion to do something pretty serious, knock out something that serious. We used to take stuff from chickens and other things that would be embryonic, and when we did that wrong, that caused all kinds of dysfunctional problems inside children, inside of people. The older you were, it had a certain dysfunction. The younger you were, it had a certain dysfunction. If you were pregnant, it had a certain dysfunction. A reaction would happen later simply because you were pregnant or simply because you were a small child. These are things we found out 20 years later. And we focus on that in experimental medicine. So it's not quick to judge, quick to give, quick to do, and believe that we're going to get into, a quick, saving of humanity of a virus that's killing so many people so rampantly. It has to be done through mass. That's the only way it can really be done. We can get those vaccines, but we have to be honest to ourselves and not let this guy do what he's already done and do it even worse by getting us vaccines in a 9-month period where it takes 3 to 5 years to go through the trials. How do you shorten time in trials? It's impossible. The only way you can do it is break the law. And let me tell you, study it right now. If you did, you'd find out that our Mr. Trump is setting up laws so that you could break the law and not be busted for it. All the people who are making these, manufacturing these things, are written into their process right now, law, legally, that anybody who takes it can't sue them for any reactions that they get. They can't sue them. If you're a nurse, or if you're a doctor, or if you're a person who has to go to school, they made it so that you cannot sue the school. None of the people in school can sue the school. None of the people at the meatpacking plant can sue the meatpacking plant anymore. They could have before Trump, but no, not now, because they have to go to work, and if they do die, they have no recourses. They can't sue anybody. They can't say any. In order to stay in the job, they had to sign that agreement. And that law sits over them, whether they sign it or not. It's a law. So if you try and make a law go a different way, when you go to the judge and you go to your lawyer and he says, and you say, well, they're breaking the law, I'm going to sue them. They're just going to show you, well, you're wrong. You lost your rights. And there's law right here written down that during this one period of time, during a virus, you have no legal rights and you have to continue working. And these events are taking place. Yeah. Yeah. So he's doing a lot. He's doing a whole lot, to harm us. And he is eliminating enormous amount of medicine. The Obama medical plan. All of that is being erased during the pandemic. Yeah, where millions of people are going to lose their insurance. And millions of people are going to go in process of losing their home. Because there's no real direct, reinforced reality behind the people who are the landlords, who are going to just plain ass lose the loans because it's not followed through. The bank, that runs the landlord's mortgage, the bank is going, no, we're going to close. We're going to close it up, and go another year, the bank will close. Yeah, and then it's all just, and we're just going to see empty houses or houses that are with a lot of people in them that aren't paying rent at all because now they're just squatting. Yeah, because there's not a better scenario. It's either homelessness or squatting or living in your car, And there's so much lawlessness by creating so many bad laws that is unlawful in their laws. It creates real lawlessness. There's no laws to protect us. Yeah. So that's our outcome. That's what we're moving into. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty difficult. Yeah. So it's really a individual thing, Get yourself minimalized, know that this shit is going on, don't think that the world is ending, it'll all get better, but minimalize. Keep yourself safe. Wear a mask. Know that anybody can have this virus. And if you get it, you could pass it to someone else. You may not be vulnerable, but somebody else may be. And people are dying because of that passing of the virus. Yeah, you get the virus and you get no symptoms. Get the mask on, so you don't get the virus. That's the main thing, yeah? So I'm just going to show you one thing here. Our dear Mr. Trump.
I think there will be vaccine that initially be available sometime between November and December, but very limited supply and will have to be prioritized. If you're asking me when is it going to be generally available to the American public so we can begin to take advantage of vaccine to get back to our regular life, I think we're probably looking at late second quarter, third quarter, 2021.
So that's the head of the CDC, and that didn't exactly match what the president has been predicting. So hours later, Trump was in the White House briefing room with his own update on the effort to contain the virus. He offered his own timeline on a vaccine. Shockingly, he's teasing out the possibility of a vaccine right around Election Day. And when questioned about the differences, he threw his own CDC director under the bus.
Today, my administration released our detailed national vaccine distribution plan. We have our military lined up. We think we can start sometime in October. So as soon as it is announced, we'll be able to start. That'll be from mid-October on. As soon as the FDA approves the vaccine, and as you know, we're very close to that, we'll be able to distribute at least 100 million vaccine doses by the end of 2020.
Dr. Redfield confirmed that it looked like November, December, the first doses would be able to be distributed.
No, I think he made a mistake when he said that. It's just incorrect information. And I called him, and he didn't tell me that, and I think he got the message maybe confused. Maybe it was stated incorrectly. I called him. I said, what did you mean by that? And I think he just made a mistake. He just made a mistake. I think he misunderstood the question, probably. Under no circumstance will it be as late as the doctor said.
At this morning's hearing, Redfield was also asked about this comment, this moment from his boss. This happened during last night's ABC News town hall.
A lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example,
Who are those people?
Well, I'll tell you who those people are. Waiters.
And here's what the CDC director, under oath, told senators about that.
I'm not going to comment directly about the president, but I am going to comment as the CDC director that face masks, these face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have. And I will continue to appeal for all Americans, all individuals in our country, to embrace these face coverings. We have clear scientific evidence they work, and they are our best defense. I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine.
As you might imagine, that didn't go over too well with the president either.
Okay, so there's a lot that's going on that you're not aware of that he has going on, and he doesn't like to talk about, but he's still got it going on, The main thing is it's herd immunity, That's his theory, and whether doctors believe it or not. He did get someone who's kind of a doctor who went in and worked with him for a 2-week period, and he was telling him herd immunity is the only way. And yet he was telling the news media, no, I've never said such a thing ever, And then they went back just over 3 days and found him making those very same comments to many people, saying that's really the only way it'll work, and that's the way I'm telling the president to go about treating this, is through herd immunity. So he's got someone other than Fauci, who he believes is a doctor, and is giving him valuable information. He had another one who is a doctor who also believed in voodoo medicine, and that we're all being taken over by extraterrestrials, and that we're receiving blood from extraterrestrials to stop people from looking for Christ. That was his other doctor who got him to take the chloroquine, and verify that that was a good thing, And that was the only other doctor around that would say it was a good thing. And he happened to find that doctor, but then when people looked into it, they found out that doctor was a witch doctor. And that an actual medical doctor, but a witch doctor. And that she was blatantly into extraterrestrials and taking over the planet. So he, there may be something there. I don't know. But that's just the way the guy goes, He is looking anywhere to find, people that will support his delusion. And he's under a lot of influence of wanting to be the president again, to maintain his presidency, because there's a lot that's going to happen when he's not president, and it's nothing to do with being president. It's all his past is to catch up. And I think he's hoping that he will be president and then die shortly after. And that historically nothing will ever be uncovered, and he'll always be the happy-go-lucky, crazy president. We had Donald Trump, just the crazy president, wacky, crazy president. Not the person we're going to find out who he is, a pedophile, a molester, a rapist, and, a person who never paid taxes, And which means that when you go bankrupt, you leave a lot of businesses in the dark, and you leave a lot of small families without income, and you leave a wake of building buildings and not paying suppliers. He did that all the way through, and then after the building is built, he languishes into bad management, and the building goes under because he just wants money. He's going to open up Trump Tower and casinos and golf clubs. 3 of the most useless things on earth. 3 things that are not meant to be here. They're here only because of him, only because of his greed. And he thinks these things are so important, everybody wants them. But not everybody goes to them. Only pedophiles, greedy, bad people go to his house and go to Trump Tower and go to his golf courses. Yeah, because they want to be a part of this Trump thing. And it's so small if you compare it to all the other things in the world, all the other wonderful places in the world you can go to, from Hyatt to Hilton to, and not have anything to do with Trump. There are gazillions, and he is the smallest speck, the one place that I can think of that has any real branding in comparison to all the others. Everybody knows everybody goes to all the others, but no one goes to Trump's place. No one really. There's so few. Yeah, he can't even get it started in another country. Where he's trying Moscow right now. He's trying so many different places, and only to build his brand. It has nothing to do with doing anything good for anybody, just to build a brand. So that's all he's doing in wanting to become president. He's just building a brand. He's not the president. He just wants to be the president. Yeah. And then whatever wake comes out of that. Yeah. So it's vitally important you really understand this is not a presidential election. This is a hoax. Yeah. You're in the middle of a con job. Just like people going into a Ponzi scheme and people buying into a Ponzi scheme and people believing that, Enron was real and that they're going to be able to live the rest of their life better than they were going to because they invested in this electric company, Enron, or the Ponzi reality of thinking, oh, I'm going to make a guaranteed $20,000, $30,000 a month just by this guy who can do this. But in reality, you're being ripped off and conned, and they know it. They have absolutely no spreadsheet. They have absolutely no information. They collect no money. Nobody gets anything. Yeah, it's a Ponzi. It's a con. And we're in the middle of a con. Yeah. And, he's not going to tell anybody that he's doing this herd immunity unless it kind of slips out. But if you realize, 5 years down the road after all this takes place and we're 3.5 million people dead, those are a lot of people right now will be dead because of this scenario. That will hit you very hard. Yeah. And the process of that is going to affect us in our trust in humanity and our trust in other things that might happen. So we have to do, I believe, whatever we can do to gain as much faith as we can to get through this. Yeah. And then once this is over with, we need to put our time and energy into doing the ecology, the minimalism, the right work in order to establish, less of a place for people like Trump to exist. Because we need to get more and more companies and organizations to go green. We need more and more groups in the United States, like Illinois and Mississippi and Texas. People say Texas is an oil state, but if you drive through Texas, it's windmills everywhere. Yeah, there's 100 times more windmills than there is oil. So this guy Trump is bullshitting you, and our economy and our future is already on the way. Yeah, and all it is a lie, a bunch of lies and illusions and deceptions and images of paranoia. So we need to focus on the positive side of get out and see what's really going on. Look at all the wind generators out there. Look at all that really is going on, and stay positive. Don't let anything he says affect you because it's a lie. It's there to inhibit your soulful intrigue of what could happen in the world. It lowers your ambition. It lowers your enthusiasm. It lowers your interest in what's going on in the world. And don't let that happen. Don't let mundaneness distract you. Yeah. Keep yourself in a relationship of faith. Yeah, and know that millions of people will be lost if you don't hold faith. If you're a mundane person and distracted, millions of people could be lost. Millions of people, because we all take every moment as a mundane state, and it's hard to stay focused. It's really hard. A lot of people, if you're driving, you just go, oh, I don't want to drive another minute. I can't do it, because I'm bored or this and that. And you get into a more mundane state, the harder it gets to drive, the harder it gets to do anything. Yeah. And that's the fulfillment of a plan. Yeah. That's getting something done. And a lot of times, hardly anything gets done because it's covered up by many thousands of mundane states that just layers over time and distances of opportunity that no longer are there because they've just been layered over by not doing it. Just by not having the time or not fulfilling it, not pulling it off. So it becomes the nature of the person. And it's in that nature that keeps us from being empathetic and compassionate and gaining faith. We don't know that we haven't got faith. Yeah? You haven't got faith if you worry about another person. You haven't got faith. And then you got dead children. Well, I'm disturbed by that. Because I understand the cause and it's in the inertia. So humanity needs to have faith. Not in a religion, but faith in reality. No more worrying about other people, worrying about anybody, other than concern over the reality of a given situation. But let them work it out. Let them go through what they have to go through, so that you can get on with your moment. Because God makes us individuals to work out a plan and not self-servant or serving someone else, but serving God, and we're here to serve God, and we have no idea on what level we can serve God unless we can get rid of our emotions, moving in a direction that keeps our ability to grow into becoming a healer, that literally radiates, either has radiatory, pranic, or has the ability of magnetic healing. Any one of those would be helpful in my world. Any one of those would be really helpful. And without faith, not one of them works. Because you start to do magnetic healing, then you have a conversation or a thought or a worry about this or that. And you no longer are a healer. You no longer have faith. You're no longer carrying energy to make it happen. You can't have any of those kind of thoughts and carry the etheric level of healing, because healing is emptiness. Complete emptiness. If you're going to heal someone, you have to get them to let go. And you got to go in empty. Not carrying anything. Not forcing anything. But you lend to them emptiness. And then that makes things work. And that's faith. Faith is emptiness. When you're not, doing the force or the worry or all those things, that's yourself. Either self-pity or pity of another or things like that. And it has nothing to do with your ability to change the given situation. Everybody is a healer. And I have to talk to people as though, you have no healing abilities whatsoever, which you don't, which is really bad, because we got to get rid of this guy Trump. The only way we get rid of him is through faith. Because he uses words. He uses spellbinding. He uses the power of the office of the first ray. He's got shit going on, and he's got real crazy people around him like that, the press secretary and others, the guy who's in charge of law, and others, they go along with him because they are bent, in a very selfish way, and they don't care what anybody thinks. They're going to burn it into you like a steak, or, They'll swoop you down, cut you down, tear you out, make you invisible, nothing. Yeah. Now that's the way the Dark Lodge works, is that they just rip you apart. And you got to help people lift themselves up, to a point to where you have at least magnetic healing going on. So that means anything and everything that goes on in your life, you have to be balanced so that you don't put physical or ideas or whatever into it to make it fix. You put faith into it, into the other person of getting it fixed. Rather than not having faith in them, you have to put faith into them. Because the reason why they're not getting fixed is because they're not spiritually correct. They're not doing the right thing. They're not, you worry about that. But how are you going to change that? Yeah? You can change that with your intellectual judging mind, a bias and, control and all those things. That's not going to work. That's just another Trump. You got to go the other way. And once you go with faith, then you got to go with patience. Yeah? You got to wait for the effect to take place. You got to give it time. Yeah? You can't, go, well, I expected it to happen quicker than that. All these different things, you just got to relate to yourself as, just a control freak. And everybody is, and they're all freaked out because they're not in charge, and you're not in charge. You got to have faith, and once you start doing that, then you got to react appropriately so that you have patience and you have the virtue of calmness and serenity and understanding, and you have more empathy than you do direction. Yeah. Everybody's got direction, no empathy. They just say, well, if you'd done this, it wouldn't have happened, That's not right. It's just planting in the seed of the person that this is where your weakness is at, and this is how I see you, and oh man, that's so harmful. Yeah. So it's really important that we work from the heart and we begin to become healers so we can get rid of this thing. And then we can get rid of the virus through healing, through the power of God. Yeah. This thing can be overcome, but not in Trump's way or any other way, It's going to be overcome by us doing the right thing, wearing a mask, and then if we are spiritual people, develop character. Have faith and develop character. That has to do with all your virtues, getting rid of all your vices under these times, because it's the only thing that causes our weakness to be susceptible to these viruses. Yeah. And how bad it gets is just how weak we are, how vulnerable we are. Yeah. So anyway, that's my talk about Trump. Yeah. And it's just important that we better understand the reality behind, taking a side, when things are coming from the solar plex and they manifest in psychic ways, they control the gift of your psychic ability. And if you're not aware of the fact that your little attitude process, just a little attitude, makes a world of difference in how your voice comes, that aggressive, that aggressiveness that comes with the voice. You got to really hold that back, because that's the solar plex talking, not the heart. I used to get so freaked out I couldn't be around people because of their voice. The moment they open their mouth, I just, I cringe. But yeah, I like them, but I like not them. What was them was a very hostile, aggressive, prideful person. And it just all comes out of the voice, and it comes from right down here in the gut, and it comes out as they speak. So everybody gets their territorial imperative the moment they speak. Other people go, oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. But then there's those other people that just kick the dog and beat the dog and pull the dog's chain, and those people bother me, and I could hear it in their voice. So I ask people of that nature not to talk around me. not to give me anything, not to stand around me. You could be anywhere, but just don't talk, until that changes. Because it will change. That voice will go away when the demon is gone. The problem is the person identifies with it. It's who they've been since a child, and they have no idea this voice is coming out. And it's a freaking demon. And there could be 5 or 6 demons, because they change their octave of attitude when they get really weird, So you got to just, I just go into faith, and I ask for the person not to say anything so I don't have to have a spontaneous reaction to such an elemental force. And you should have the same sensitivity when it comes to anybody in the world. These are they're qualities of Christ. They're qualities of spirituality. They're qualities of our nature. And once you're a healer, you heal yourself. You protect yourself from these things. And you become very well aware of the fact you don't need to talk much. You don't need to think much. All you need to be is doing, and getting things done, and using your higher mind to not think that you can't fix it. Go through the instructions or the situation or the circumstance to get to it, rather than somebody else. Because a lot of times people come into it and just take it over, and they don't really let you learn. They just do it themselves. And that's not good. Because there's not enough patience there's not enough calmness there. Person's just not in the right nature to be showing how to do it. But that's really where it's at. Everybody needs to learn. And as we get into that process, we lose this strong 6th ray thing. Because if we're 6th ray, then we have a desire for service, other people to serve us. It's a natural thing, and it's like unrequited love. When you have not really, in reality, you don't know what love is. So when you haven't received love, then you have a response that comes out of you, and it's called unrequited love. And that response comes back as nervousness or anxiety or a sense of, I distrust, or, I'm not sure, and I can't trust you, and then it gets to defense mechanisms, and the person starts defending themselves, and then they find fault, and they can't help it, because these are all just part of a spin that goes into the nature of the human being, and all those things have to be released to become a healer. All those things, because they wipe out the ability for you to attract angels to you. It's not about you. It's about the fact that the person and everything is an angel, an angelic emanation of God, creation that is animated by God. And there is no such thing as free will. So either we go with God or we go against God. So the only way we can go with God, because God is so powerful, is that we have to get really still. Just like getting on a boat, we either paddle against it or we turn the other way and we go with it. We just decide what's smarter, get out of the freaking thing, walk up the shore, do whatever you can, but do what is right. And we don't know discernment and discrimination. And it's really difficult without having healing abilities. It's in those 3 healing abilities that everybody's got to acquire. And until we have that strengthened, and we get that, by witnessing and having ecology happen in our environment, because our environment is a temple. And if we start witnessing more electric cars, less oil, we witness it despite all the demons talking and saying, oh, it's not really happening. Oh, it's going to give you cancer. Oh, let it go. Don't need that. No matter what they say, still look around and see the evolution of God's plan manifesting, and it's in ecology. And the more that we witness that, the more we receive light from above. We receive plans that are precog. All the things that are getting done from future thinking. Things of visions that are coming from the future, and they work. Cars that work. flying machines that work, and they're not the ones we have today, but they're the future. And instead of going through all the process of getting crazy and inventing and all those things, they come to you in a vision. And we see this whole vision of a future. And we see flying cars, electric cars, we see levitating cars, we see all these things, and then we motivate ourselves toward getting those things. We're not going to get them with the things that we have right now. We're only going to get them through these visions. Yeah? And those visions keep instilling more visions as to how to solve problems. Yeah? Those are short-term visions. They can come in the middle of the night while you're dreaming. They can come while you're thinking through the trouble of having the difficulty of trying to figure it out. Yeah? All engineering is visionary work. Yeah? All of it. Every single thing had to be drafted. Yeah? Had to be figured out. Had to be made in a specific way, in a very not mundane way. It had to be very clear. It had to be very, very clear. And once it's brought to that, yeah, with more and more clarity, then other things start coming together. More and more things start making sense. And when we get more into vibrational medicine, energetic medicine, more into the reality of ecology, we start seeing that there's sacred geometry in everything, yeah, and that we see light in an equation that works in relationship to the Great Pyramid and the Earth and the manifestation between our Earth, the Sun, and the Moon. We slowly but surely come into grips with things like that. Those are really big truths that allows us to make technologies that further those truths. Just like me building this Shambhala Monastery. This is thousands and thousands of years in advance. Thousands and thousands of years, yeah? But because I did this, even though it's thousands and thousands of years in advance, it allows us to have something that's thousands of years in the future sitting here, which draws everything up to that point into that future. And that's safe. Yeah? That's just the opposite of Trump, where Trump is sitting in a deluded state of presidency, and you're deluded in thinking that he's the president and this is the office and this is the power over the people. And it's not. God is the power over the people, and God has a plan, and God is willfully using the healing powers of God to bring about a better future. And it's done through vision. And that's then done through the new group of world servers, through the masters of wisdom, and into humanity. And it's all a process of ascension, planetary ascension, in all of humanity. You got to kind of think like that, yeah? Because your mundane mind will make you think about people, yeah? And you're not here to think about people. You're here to think about the future and what you need to do to have a better day, a better house, a better future, fix it, yeah? Don't let it go by another day. That way your next week down the road will be clearer and more present and, actively more in a healing state. Yeah. And everything, there isn't a thing that we're going to move through over the next 5 or 10 years. So many technologies, so many advancements, electric cars that will go 1,000 miles. I mean, we haven't got a car that does 1,000 miles. An electric car that goes 1,000 miles doesn't cost you a dime, to drive the car. And then 5 years after that, all those cars are modular. So when you think about buying a car, you're thinking, all I got to do is change my modular, not a car. Yeah. And you just take it into the modular shop and you get these designs that go boop, boop, boop. Now you got a pickup truck. Now you got a van. Yeah. You still got the same body. It's modular. Everything is modular. You don't have to throw everything away to get something new. Yeah. That's our future. Yeah. It's smart. It's the way it is, how it really does work in every way. Even our houses will be built this way, done in modular ways. You want a bathroom? Boop, there's a bathroom. Where do you want it? Here's your whole living room. Here. Where do you want it? And everything could be done in robotic technology, built, designed, very neatly. Yeah, without contractors coming in, and then you got electricians coming in, and then you got plumbers coming in, and then you got all this coming in, and you don't know anything. But in the future, this whole thing will be set with computer, robotic technology, and modular work. And all your time is going to be spent, just redesigning, your structure. Oh, I've got another kid coming. I guess I need to add on, all these things that you could do that have nothing to do with money. But they wipe away recycling, because we're in the moment. In a modular world, we're recycling in that world while we're doing it. We're using one thing, moving it into another, and we're keeping the old and only maintaining it through change and upgrading. And it just, you'll be amazed the way the future will come out. So it's all about our healing abilities to heal the process of people who have, go down south, hi y'all, what y'all doing, and they're half teeth, and they're chewing tobacco, and they got the genetic level that is not so good. They need light. They need healing, They don't need a Hitler to wipe away the gene pool in order to make better people by having them have sex with prettier people. It's not how it works. It works by us getting to be loving. And then we make lovely people. And when they get through their compassionate, empathetic life, because we're compassionate and empathetic, and we're not treating people in the way that we used to, and then these people get through that life and they come back, and we've restored their community. They're not coming back to a coal mine. They're not coming back to extreme poverty. They're not coming back to where they'll never see a dentist, ever. And they're, marrying into their own family, through incest, because nobody wants them. That's the way it is in many places. And all that will change because you're going to become healers. The first thing is have faith in what I'm talking about, and don't let these people get to you. Because the only way this thing keeps going forward is by you going mundane. And everybody, I'm talking to everybody. No one can go mundane. It's not about, I'm up and strong and this and that, but don't get caught in personality scenarios during a time when millions of people are losing their lives over no one's talking about Christ on earth and the need to recognize that reality and take advantage of that reality. So many people find out that I'm here and they just don't bother. Just go on with their life as though it didn't happen. Now I at least know he's here. Really? That's where things are at. So it's really necessary in order to get rid of these people and make this a better world, and end many of the difficulties that are going to come our way. Make them lighter, make them easier to get through, simply by us developing faith. And to develop faith, we have to make sure we're not personality oriented. So think upon that. All right. So let's do a prayer and meditation, and I think that'll be good. Okay, first we're going to do this prayer, and then we're going to do an Om, and it's based on the 7 rays of God. It's a video, so you need to actually have your eyes open when that happens. And I'll tell you when it's coming on, so you can open your eyes and watch it. And there are some points where you need to read. It tells you about the heart and certain things, and it's good to read it, because it's good to use your mind to have positive teachings go in it, so that when you have your weaknesses and you're thinking about people, you might go toward the spiritual thinking, and not so much toward your, wanting to be someone who tells someone what to do or whatever. So, all right, so let's just repeat after me. Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for bringing me here. Lord Jesus the Christ, I open my heart today. I invite you to come inside. Come inside, Lord Jesus the Christ, and save my life. Receive me today as a child of God. Forgive all my sins and write my name in the book of life. I give myself to you, my spirit, my soul, my body. Receive me, Jesus the Christ. Now, the devil, the blood of Jesus the Christ, is against you. I command you now to leave me. I do not belong to you. I am God's property. Leave my life. I disassociate myself from you. I renounce every evil covenant I have ever entered in with you. In Jesus' name, I have received salvation. I am a child of God. Amen. Okay, now just watch the video and you'll do your meditation. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. To guide you into the right activity in the plan. I invoke the alignment of the 7 rays. To your 7 chakras. I invoke the alignment Take a deep breath. Of the 3rd ray. To your throat center. I invoke the alignment of the 7th ray. of the second ray to your heart center. I invoke the alignment of the sixth ray to your solar plexus. I invoke the alignment of the first ray to your crown center. I invoke the alignment of the fourth ray to your base center. I invoke the alignment of the fifth ray to your brow center. I invoke the light of the Christ within. I invoke the nature of the Buddha that you are to become. I invoke the mind of the Davic angelic beingness that you can be. I invoke the celestial spheres, the sounds of heaven, the sounds of God, the song of love. veils of Kundalini on earth. Om sacred silence. Om great pyramid. Om portal. I invoke the healing through the meridians and the ley lines of this earth, the pulse of the seven rays, the awakening of the Logos, the healing of humanity, the coming forth of the hierarchy, the saving grace of truth. Planetary, logos, solar, logos, cosmic, logos. Om, one God, one law, one life. I invoke the angel that you are to wake up. Science of redemption, science of God. Om sacred geomancy. I invoke all mankind to dream in visions, to awaken, to live. Unity in personality, Om Shanti. Okay, just keep relaxing. Play a little drum here. Not such a little drum, but it's a drum. you can open your eyes. Just relax. So I'm just going to pop this picture up real quick so you know what healthy and unhealthy looks like. There is a difference. Yeah, it's a dramatic difference. And one says healthy, the other says unhealthy. What this means is one is harmful and one is harmless. That's all it is. It's really not about anything else. It's about being harmless or being harmful. Now, since I'm Buddha, and I'm extremely sensitive to harmfulness, extremely sensitive. But all that is empathy. Yeah, it's sensitivity. Yeah, so it keeps me in line. Yeah, it's not about guilt or anything like that. It's about my sensitivity, and it keeps me from doing anything that would be harmful. Yeah, just it's impossible. Yeah, and it's the same with everyone else. When you're healthy, you're a healer. You not only not do wrong things, but you heal people. You heal people. The world changes. Nations change. Your neighborhood changes. Everything changes if you change. Yeah, every change you make is changing these unhealthy chakras to healthy chakras. Every change you make. You know, when you listen to me and you follow this instruction and you make these changes, you will make the changes in these chakras. You will become a healer. And you will witness the world getting healed. And it's just because this is all about love. It's not about anything else. And we're all love. We're just 100% love. You know, so there's nothing else to work with, just love. And the lack of love. Unrequited love. It's all about unrequited love. Yeah? You expected it from your mom, your dad, your school, your everything in the world. But no one knows what love is. You know, without love, without Christ, without God, you haven't got love. And you have many immoral processes that you can pass through without direction. And without your sensitivity and your understanding of what will harm and what will not harm you, you know, let alone someone else, you know. Healer, heal thyself. That's the key to the whole thing. And you must, in order to become a healer, you must change your chakras. And the only way they can change is by you dealing with life differently. You got to listen to what I say, and you have to follow through. Yeah, and if you really do, I'll walk you through every single initiation without me talking to you or coming up to you or saying you need to do this or that. Yeah, I speak for everyone. We're all in the same boat, and it's sinking. Yeah, and we need to get into another boat. You know, so you cannot stay in this boat any longer. You know, it's got to go. Yeah, so you got to go into the healthy boat and get out of the unhealthy boat. Yeah. Yeah. And the only way to do that is changing your behavior. Yeah. So enjoy, please.